When I had my children in Tonga, I realised how they're so not Tongan because they didn't like the food. They were surprised with a lot of things. They couldn't speak the language. That was really an eye-opener for me. And so when we came back, I made the decision that if I don't pass this on and I don't talk to them about our culture, they will definitely lose it. We're fishermen, and seafood is a big deal. It's a big part of our food. We eat pretty much everything in the ocean.
I was hoping to get tuna, but they only had salmon. That was fresh.
If you know Tongans, we love to eat, and we have feasts, massive, massive celebrations, and that brings everybody together. And growing up with mum and dad, it didn't matter where you were at the time, we all had to be at home for dinner because everybody had to come together, and that's the time where we get to sit down, talk about your day, how was your day. And I remember mum and dad made it a rule that we have to speak English. Dad was the type that would ask, how was your day? And you can't say good. You have to actually talk about your day. So before dinner time, we'd all be sitting in our rooms preparing what to say in English.
Since moving here, the fish is never fresh for me because I have eaten it straight from the ocean.
The longer we're away from home, from Tonga, the more I miss home, and the more you realise that you actually have something, your culture is actually very unique. We tell stories in different ways in Tonga. So we do our Tongan dancing. We sing a lot. It all tells a story. It's the history of Tongans. It's the story of where they've come from, where they've been. And food is the other one that we tell stories through. So I tell my stories to them, and I know that at the moment they're still young, and I was the same, and they probably won't mean anything to them now. But you know, you get to a certain age like I am now, and I'm so grateful for stories that I hear, and I, relate that to my life now. I love to cook, and I think that's mum in me now. It's such a good feeling that you cook your own dishes, and then it makes me so proud to talk about my culture, share with them my food, getting them involved in the kitchen. They're cutting veggies, cutting the meat, helping mum cook, and that really takes me back to my memories growing up as well, because I used to do the same with my mum. I will always be cooking with mum. So we're cooking the traditional food, we're talking about it, we're telling them the origin of it, why we cook it in a certain way. And although they finish cooking and they don't want to eat it because it's totally different to what they're used to eating here in Australia. And I've always wondered what it'd be like for a professional chef to try one of our recipes and put in their touch. So Vinny came to mind because he was the only chef I knew. So ota is just, raw fish. I think it's probably one of the dishes that hasn't changed much at all, because a lot of the Tongan traditional dishes, they have added spices into it now where we didn't have spices growing up. We have coconut milk in almost everything. So it's like if you have a dish, add coconut milk, it's a Tongan dish. Back in the islands, you'll be having the real coconut and scraping the coconut and squeezing the cheese out of it. In certain ways, like some ways I think, I'm so glad I grew up in Tonga with no Macca's, no KFC. I had no access to any of that, fast food. And then I look at my kids and I'm like, I feel sorry for you guys because it's just everywhere, and you can't even tell anymore what's real, what's not. So I found out through cooking and eating with my kids that they're not a big fan of the original recipes. And that's why I've definitely started looking at other ways of cooking it and finding ways that the kids will eat it too, and that they will continue on, hopefully cook for their families one day too.
Give it a mix.
Oh, wow.